Since I turned 60, I've made a very conscious effort to avoid people. But in particular, there are certain types of people that I go out of my way to avoid. These are the sort of people that I've encountered throughout my whole life, probably from my school years, in all honesty, when I first encountered them. Back then I didn't know what they were. But now that I'm 63, I've got pretty finely tuned radar for who these people actually are. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 8 types of people that I avoid at all costs. There reaches a point in life when you've got to be selective about who you hang out with. And I think when you get past 60, you've reached that point. Time is incredibly precious. You really don't want to be hanging out with people who are bad for you. This is the time when you should be narrowing the people down to a small and select few who make you happy and whose company you enjoy. Here are the 8 types of people that I try to avoid at all costs. The ones at the beginning are easy to spot. The ones at the end, not so easy. They're ones that tend to be in your lives for quite a long time before you actually realise what they really are, but they're just as toxic as the ones that are easy to spot. First up, and this is an easy one to spot, we've seen them all, it's the complainer. You know the one? They're always moaning, they're always groaning. What's that expression? The glass is half empty. They don't see the good in anything. They're on the dark side. It doesn't matter what's going on in their lives, how wonderful their lives are, they just never stop moaning. Next up, at number 2, is the self-pitying, the victim. You know the ones? It's not their fault. They have no accountability whatsoever for their lives. They think everything that's wrong is because of the government, or it's their employer, or it's their boss. You know the type. It's never their fault, it's always somebody else's fault. And they're always self-pitying, woe is me. I'm sure you've encountered these people, I know I have. Next, in at number 3, is the stubborn. I don't know about you, but these are the worst type of people if you're an employer, because you just can't shift their opinions, you can't teach them anything new. They're so stubborn and set in their ways, they just don't want to go and change and be flexible and move with the times. I'm sure you've encountered them. Historically, I always thought that that was people who were older. I thought that when I was younger. I don't think that now, because when I was in my 30s and I was running a company, I met a lot of these people and they were only in their 20s. But you know the type, you just cannot shift their view on anything and they're just so set in their ways. Number 4 is the insensitive. People who completely lack any empathy. They just say the wrong thing at the wrong time. I've got a family member that's a bit like this, but I'm not going to say who it is because I don't have that many family members anymore and I don't want to upset them just in case they're watching this video. But this particular family member just tells it how it is completely at the wrong time, even makes jokes about things that are really hard on for people. For example, there was a recent death in the street near them, and this person made a joke about it. Complete lack of empathy. But if you encounter these people, run a mile, but it's not easy if they're family members like mine. Number 5 is the envious. People who just envy people's success. They don't feel good for them at all. They don't glory in the fact that people are having success. They just look through a bitter set of glasses at people and go, well, I could have done that. But they couldn't have done. They're not the sort of people who can make things happen, but they're always very envious and they're always quick to put people down. I'm getting towards the end of my list now, so I'm going to start introducing some of the people that are just a little bit harder to spot in terms of their toxicity and their intentions. And first up is the flatterer. I've encountered a lot of these in my time. They're always very popular, very charming, everybody likes them. They'll sidle up to you and they'll become your friend really quickly because they're often good fun. But they're after something. They want something that you've got, or they want you to facilitate something for them. And when you've done, they will drop you. You will no longer be their friend. They will probably dump you before you dump them because you've outlived your usefulness. Next up is the selfish. Now these are very, very closely related to the flatterer. In fact, some people have a tendency to have both of those things. They can be a flatterer and selfish at the same time. The only thing these people are interested in is themselves and what they can get. And if you end up with one of these in business working closely with you, you've got yourself a bit of a problem. If they're a family member, I'm sure you've spotted them. You might have a brother or a sister or a parent who comes across as being incredibly selfish. These people are only interested in what benefits them. And finally, in at number 8, and God help you if you spend any time in the company of one of these, the unprincipled. These people do not have any morals. They'll do anything to get on. Damaging people, hurting people, destroying people. They're just not bothered. They are completely unprincipled. No morals, no ethics. If you're married to one of these, or you have one of these as a friend, or you're in business one of these, eventually you will end up as being collateral damage. This is the reality of this type of person. And I've encountered these for quite some time. I was in business with one of these. So stop right now and take a good long look at the people around you. Have you got one of these in your life? If you have, try to get rid of them as soon as you can. So do you recognise any of these types? A family member perhaps? Your friends? Work colleagues? Business partner? What are your thoughts? Have you got one of these in your life? Please let me know in the comments. Have you encountered these people? And if you have, how have you dealt with them? I'd love to hear. I know I've encountered a lot of these people in my life. Are they still in my life now? I don't think so. I mean, there's always the chance that I might still have some of these in there because I've not spotted them yet. But mostly they've gone. They're not around anymore. Or they've dumped me because I've outlived my usefulness. But I'm fairly sure that the select few people that I now hang out with don't fall into these categories. You owe it to yourself to eliminate these people as soon as you can, especially if, like me, you're over 60. We're in the final chapters of our lives. There aren't that many chapters left. If this were a book, what would there be? 8, 9 chapters? I'm 63, so I guess that means I'm into the 7th chapter of 9. So I don't want to be hanging out with these people in my final chapters, and I don't think you should either. You want to be hanging out with people who love you, people who enjoy your company, people who you love back and who you enjoy their company back, people who uplift you, people that make you happy. You don't want to be hanging out with anybody that drags you down, brings you down, and has got no empathy for you, no care for you at all. This is not the time of life to have those kind of people in your life. I made a video on a similar topic which you might want to watch next. It's about why I avoid people after 60. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate you dropping in, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please join the conversation. I'll see you next time.